So, you're jumping into Borderlands 4 and staring at the character select screen, wondering who's gonna be your ride or die for this crazy loot-filled adventure. You've got Rafa the Exo Soldier, Vex the Siren, Harlow the Gravitar, and Ammon the Forge Knight. Each of them brings something totally different to the table, from wild elemental powers to unique playstyles, so picking the right class can actually make your first few hours way more fun, or, well, slightly more chaotic if you go in blind. Now, you could just pick whichever looks coolest and hope for the best, but if you're the type who likes a little guidance before committing, we've got you covered. In this video, we're breaking down all 4 classes, sharing their strengths, quirks, and elemental vibes, and even ranking them in a tier list. By the end, you'll know which class might suit your playstyle the best, and which ones are just a little extra overpowered. Let's dive in and figure out who's worth your first run in Borderlands 4. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking classes in Borderlands 4. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Ammon. You know that feeling when you want to charge into a battlefield and just laugh in the face of danger? Well, Ammon, the Forge Knight, is basically your I got this tank buddy in Borderlands 4. He is not the fastest, not the flashiest, but oh boy, he can take a beating like a champ. If you like standing at the front and watching bullets bounce off you while your team does all the fancy stuff, then Ammon is your guy. What makes Ammon really interesting is his focus on incendiary and cryogenic damage. And don't worry, that's just fancy Borderlands speak for fire and ice powers that mess up your enemies. His Forge skill trait is a genius little system where each Forge skill works in perfect harmony with the ability you pick. So it's like having a dance partner who actually follows your moves instead of stepping on your toes. Now, let's talk about survivability, because that's where Ammon shines. One of his abilities, called Scourge, gives him a shield that absorbs incoming damage and turns it into something called Vengeance. Picture this: bullets hitting you, you shrug them off, and then unleash that energy back at everyone around you like, surprise, it's revenge time. It's both satisfying and terrifying, mostly for your enemies of course. If you are the kind of player who doesn't mind putting in a little strategy and timing to see the payoff, Ammon will feel like home. He's not a point and shoot, instant win kind of character. You need to coordinate your abilities, pick the right moments, and play a little smart. But trust me, the rewards are worth it. Plus, there's something oddly fun about being the immovable object in a chaos-filled battlefield. Even though he moves slower than the other classes, that's honestly part of his charm. It forces you to think a step ahead, almost like a chess game, but with more explosions and fire. And for solo players who are new to Borderlands or first-person shooters in general, Ammon is forgiving. You can survive mistakes that would send other classes straight back to the respawn point. So, whether you're rolling deep with a squad that needs a frontline bruiser or just want to solo the game and feel like an unstoppable juggernaut, Ammon fits the bill. He is sturdy, reliable, and has a little flair with those fire and ice abilities. Basically, if Borderlands 4 was a rock concert, Ammon would be the bassist, keeping the rhythm solid while everything else goes wild. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Harlow. Ever feel like controlling the battlefield without actually being the one running around like a maniac? That's Harlow's in a nutshell. She's a defensive-minded powerhouse in Borderlands 4, playing with both cryogenic and radiation elements to keep enemies guessing. If you like the idea of messing with your foes while staying mostly safe, Harlow is basically your please don't touch me dream character. Her Vault Hunter trait, called Entanglement, is pure chaos for anyone standing too close. You use your abilities to tangle enemies up, and then watch as they take shared damage from each other. It's like setting up a domino effect of pain. Great for crowd control when you're staring down a horde and thinking, nope, not today, buddy. Harlow's abilities mostly involve flinging big energy attacks at or around enemies. One of the highlights, Zero Point, is a personal favorite. It puts an enemy in stasis, basically freezing them like they're stuck in a blockbuster rental tape from the 90s. Then you can slam them into the ground for maximum effect. Watching this in action never gets old. The other abilities are more for the everyone versus me kind of moments. They deal area of effect damage, making them perfect when things get crowded. You'll feel like a conductor of chaos, orchestrating explosions and energy bursts while the enemies scramble to figure out what just happened. Playing Harlow is about strategy, timing, and a little bit of mischief. She starts defensively, but with the right skill choices, you can turn her into an offensive entangler who frustrates anyone stepping onto Kairos. It's satisfying, tactical, and just a tiny bit nerdy in the best way possible. So, if you enjoy controlling fights, setting traps, and making enemies regret their life choices, Harlow's has got your back. She's clever, versatile, and has a flair for dramatic finishes. Basically, in the grand Borderlands 4 party, Harlow is the quiet genius who drops energy bombs while everyone else screams and runs. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Rafa and Vex. Ever wanted to feel like an unstoppable hurricane of firepower while still looking cool? That's Rafa for you. He's one of the absolute best classes in Borderlands 4, and honestly, he makes most enemies look like practice dummies. If you love dealing massive damage while barely breaking a sweat, Rafa is basically your dream come true. The star of the show is definitely his Peacebreaker cannons. These bad boys sit on his back and fire constantly at any enemy you're facing. Upgrade them and they dish out incendiary damage with a faster fire rate, turning even the toughest fights into what feels like a warm-up session. It's like having an angry robot buddy glued to your back shooting everything in sight. Rafa's overdrive trait takes things to the next level. When activated, you get a nice boost in damage and movement speed, and if you upgrade it, you also get bullet and shield regeneration. Basically, you become a high-flying, damage-dealing juggernaut that can keep going even when the chaos is at its peak. Plus, his Spanish and English dialogue adds a little extra flair, because why not sound awesome while wrecking enemies? Now, let's talk about Vex, the newest siren in the Borderlands universe. She's versatile to the max, able to attune to any elemental type depending on your weapon. Facing a shielded boss, switch to a shock weapon and watch Vex convert all her abilities to electricity, turning that boss's defenses into nothing more than a minor inconvenience. Vex's abilities mostly involve summoning spirits that deal damage over time, keeping the pressure on enemies throughout the fight. She also has a healing ability, which makes her a perfect pick for solo players who might otherwise struggle when things get chaotic. She's like having a magical damage dealer and a healer rolled into one, basically cheating but in the most fun way possible. So whether you're rolling solo or bringing your squad along, Rafa and Vex dominate in Borderlands 4. Rafa is the all-out damage machine, while Vex is the elemental trickster who keeps enemies guessing. Together, or even individually, they make the hardest fights feel like a walk in the park. If that park was on fire and full of exploding enemies. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.